Bridezilla Reddit Stories, Part 1. Story 1. Am I petty? So my partner proposed a few months ago now, and now that events are slowing down and I finally have time, we have started planning the wedding. My plan for me was to have my sister, my two cousins who I am very close with, and my best friend by my side. But I recently found out that my two cousins, who I am as close to as my own sister, wouldn't even consider having me by their sides. I won't lie, that really hurt, as I have trouble being close to anyone. So I changed my plan and decided I'd have my sister and 3 of my brothers, with my best friend being my maid of honor, instead of the cousin I am closest to. I grew up in the same house as these 2 cousins and have always considered them my sisters, so it kind of hurts to find out that the feeling isn't mutual, but now I feel like I'm being petty. Truth is, it's not just the talk of wedding parties that's changed my mind. There's a lot of things. This was just the thing that made me really realize that I am always going to be on the outside of their group. I will always be an afterthought or a backup. I'm even considering no wedding party, just having my kids walk me down the aisle, then they can stand next to me while hubby-to-be has his groomsmen on his side. I never thought this would be a hard choice for me, but it has me in tears. Story 2. Am I the Bridezilla? Edit. Posting here because I want people who can be brutally honest and not a group who will tell me that I did everything right if I haven't. I'm going to try to keep this short and sweet. I also know that this is a one-sided story with my bias, but I'll try to be as forthcoming as possible. I asked all my other bridesmaids what I could have improved on, and they all said I tried. My best friend of 16 years has a lot of mental health issues. Since COVID, she has been really struggling and often can't work, make phone calls, leave the house, etc. When I got engaged, I was very aware of this and didn't want to ask her of anything that she couldn't handle. However, one day she came over to my house and started sobbing about how she was afraid she wouldn't be my maid of honor and how she has wanted to do that for years. I love to plan, so I figured even if I ended up planning everything, I was fine with that and asked her to be my maid of honor. My stag and doe comes along and we start planning it together. She kind of drops off the earth for a little and texts me saying she's not in the mental place to help me plan. No problem. I plan the event, no worries. I say if she wants to help, she can donate, which she does, beautiful baskets. A week before my event, she messaged me saying she was ready to plan my event now. At this point, tickets are sold and games are live on the site. When I tell her the planning is done, she's mad that I did it without her. I apologize and say that our wires must have got crossed. I assumed I was good to go without her. I learned my lesson here and start to check in with her every step of the way to make sure she feels okay. It's dress time. Every girl has their dress but my maid of honor. I ask her if she can go in sooner rather than later because the other girls are saying it's a multiple month turnaround time. She goes and tells me the dress will get in around a week before my wedding, and then it still needs to be tailored. I messed up here. I got frustrated because I had asked a few times when she was planning on getting the dress. She says, never mind, she got the dates wrong. It will be here a month before. She's mad that I got mad at her. I apologize and say I wasn't mad, just frustrated and stressed. She told me that my stress was making her stressed. I apologize, we move on. Bachelorette rolls around and she says she wants to plan it and we'll start a group chat. Great. We booked the Airbnb together and then I send her on her way. Whenever I ask her how it's going, she says it's going great. A month before, my other bridesmaids start messaging me stressed out because nothing is booked. They haven't heard from my maid of honor and have no idea what's going on. I reach out and tell her this, in which she says she has it under control. I ask if we can compromise and I can book transportation, since a lot of the girls really want that booked, me as well, and she can plan the rest. She agrees. A few more weeks pass, nothing is planned. Every other girl is messaging me stressed out. I'm stressed, it's just stressful. I reach out again and ask if I can help to make things easier. The conversation leads to me taking over planning. I ask 100 times if that's okay, in which she says it is. So I thank her for everything she's done so far and start booking the reservations for activities. During this time, I'm also running all of my responses through my fiance and other lifelong friend to make sure I'm not being rude. The entire time, I'm thinking of how to keep her happy. Bachelorette comes. She brings gift bags. We all love them and thank her. Continue. Then her dad dies super suddenly. It's sad. It's awful. I feel horrible that my wedding is only 2 months after that. Wedding talk stops because I in no way think that it is more important. We focus on her. That's it. A few weeks out, I message her asking if she is okay to still be part of everything. I would like her to, but even if she just wants to sit in the audience, I will be okay with that. Whatever she wants. She says she still wants to be my maid of honor. I say okay. We move forward. There isn't much to do before the wedding. She originally took a week off work to help me with the decorations and says she can't anymore because her dad was usually the one that drove her down. I say that's totally okay. Wedding comes, she never shows up the day before to help set up. Says she got stuck in traffic. It's an hour 15-minute drive. She was around 4 hours later than everyone else coming from that area that was on time. I say no problem. She probably had a hard time leaving bed that morning. Her mom now has to drive instead of her dad. Lots of things to consider. She also shows up 45 minutes late to the brunch the next morning and is in the bathroom for most of the wedding. I worry. I feel awful that she is having such a hard time. I thank her for everything. Don't bring up any problems, part ways. Before the death of her dad, I was a little miffed at how she was handling things, but let it go. She has bigger problems now. I'm not going to bring stuff up like this when it feels so small. Honeymoon rolls around and then I get super sick. I realize it's been 2 months since I've heard from her post-wedding and I reach out. Turns out she's pissed at me. She says that I treated her like crap through the whole experience, that other people took over part of her jobs. One example is that my mother brought a tablecloth to the bridal shower. When maid of honor had put on her Google Doc, she was doing tablecloths. I didn't even know about this. I apologized multiple times during this phone call. The only point I argue with her is the bridal shower, because I didn't even know about that. She says that she had to get through the wedding before telling me how mad she was, which really upset me because knowing that she was just pissed that entire wedding weekend is devastating. I knew she was off, but I assumed she was in mourning. My mom gets on the phone and also tells me that it's not fair that I made her daughter feel like she ruined my wedding. My maid of honor does jump back on the phone and apologize for her mom yelling. When I questioned when I told her she ruined my wedding, she admitted that I never said that. I apologize anyway. We hang up. I've since tried to reach out multiple times. I reached out saying that I didn't love how that conversation went. I was really hurt and that I think we needed another conversation. I then reached out saying that I just wanted us to be friends. I sent flowers for her birthday. Nothing. Just recently, I asked her to at least send me a thumbs up emoji if she wanted me to leave her alone. She responded to that by saying she wasn't ready to talk to me. How can I make this better? Story 3. Did I screw up bad, or is this an overreaction? January 2024, my best friend asked me to be a bridesmaid. I said yes. At the same time, I was in a long-term abusive relationship. It wasn't safe for me to tell anyone. I was present and reliable for all my friendships at this time. In May, they said the bachelorette will occur overseas in the summer. The trip was $1,900. I was going to opt out due to the cost, and the overseas wedding already costing about $4,000. Only 5 out of the 12 bridesmaids confirmed going. 3 weeks before the trip, my sister surprised me for my birthday, saying she booked it for us both. 2 days after, my ex tried unaliving me, and I had my first NDE. I spent the next 3 weeks going to court and police station for long-term RO. Also had countless visits by my ex with the police escort to retrieve his many belongings. Had to let my boss know since he was calling my job, although ordered to stay away. Abuse is ongoing. Still going to court facing my abuser after his repeated violations. My best friend was and is aware of all this. The bachelorette trip. It was too late to cancel for a refund. I was ill prepared when I packed. Our flight was delayed, so we were 4 hours late, missing a group lunch. I made it to dinner and bar for drinks. Next day, I had wardrobe issues and missed a 2-hour pool party. My best friend got mad and gave me dirty looks and an attitude for the day. I was present and punctual for all the other events, even when I got food poisoning. After the trip, my best friend called to express how angry she was that I missed most of the events. I broke down, cried, and was apologetic. The bridal shower. Out of the 12 bridesmaids, I was one of 4 to always attend the weekly planning meeting. The event was scheduled during the holidays, so only a handful of bridesmaids could attend. On the day of, 2 hours after it began, my best friend asked me if I'm still coming. I realized I mixed the date up on my calendar. I immediately apologized for my mistake and asked if I can still go. Invite didn't list an end time, and it'll take an hour for me to be there. I also offered to take her out to make it up. I was left on red each time. Next day, I got a long essay saying that me missing this along with most of the trip has her angry and hurt with a loss for words. I had 0 excuses, and I knew well in advance. I apologized, letting her know I'm going through a lot, and for the first time in my life, I'm struggling to remember certain things. I need to write it down and set reminders. I mentioned that I was very much present for the trip and still made it, even with what I'm going through. I asked if I could still attend the shower, albeit late, but she didn't reply. She said I'm just making excuses for not being there. I should have just never attended the trip if I was dealing with too much. I couldn't attend the shower late because they ended it early. I was still very much apologetic and mentioned not wanting to ruin the friendship, although I feel like the friendship is already strained because of this. Is this something bridesmaids hold a permanent grudge against you for? Story 4. Am I the a-hole for not letting my brother's fiancé wear white to my wedding? Okay, so I just got married to my amazing husband, Jake. The planning was stressful, but everything turned out beautiful, or at least it would have, if not for the drama with my brother's fiancée, Erica. Erica is one bold, loud woman. She's the type who loves pushing the envelope as far as it would go, and which typically is rather fun until she pushes it to your detriment. A month before my wedding, Erica sent me a text stating to give a heads up that she wanted to wear a white gown on my wedding day. According to her, she considered it a modern trend, and added that since she would not attract more attention than the bride herself, it did not matter. I was shocked. I told her tactfully but firmly that going to someone else's wedding in white is a serious issue. Erica shrugged off the comment and said, "It's just a color. You are not even in pure white. You're wearing ivory," which was true, but not relevant in my mind. I tried to let it go, thinking perhaps she was playing a game with me. But then, a week before the wedding, my mom sent me a photo of Erica's dress. It wasn't just white. It was floor-length, lacy, and absolutely bridal. I called Erica immediately and told her she needed to find something else to wear, or she wouldn't be allowed in. She said I was being insecure, and that it's 2024. Women should be able to wear what they want. Later, my brother called me, Chris, begging to let it go. She said Erica thought she was being targeted and that she was in an uproar because I was ruining her experience. He said she has already spent a lot on the dress and that by now it's too late to get another one. In this case, I just stood firm and said if she shows up in that dress, she does not come in. Erica came out on the wedding day dressed in white. My stomach was sinking at this point, but I had already warned my wedding coordinator of the potential situation. The wedding coordinator caught Erica at the door and said that either she changes out of that or get gone. Erica had a total huge fit in front of my guests, screaming that she is a bridezilla and jealous of her confidence. Chris stepped in, and that is how they both bailed. Now, my family is literally torn apart. My parents feel that Erica had overreached, but my brother Chris says I humiliated them in public. Many of my other relatives go so far as to state that I overreacted and that I should have kept quiet for harmony's sake. It has been 2 weeks, and Chris is not talking to me. Erica has endured passive-aggressive comments everywhere on social media about the insecure brides and toxic wedding culture. Sometimes I think I must have been an idiot for even thinking twice about this, and I should have just let her have this stupid dress. So, am I the a-hole? Story 5. Am I the a-hole for asking my maid of honor to change her dress for my engagement party? I am having my engagement party with my fiancé in the upcoming weeks. The party is at a semi-formal venue, and I didn't stipulate any dress code, but was under the assumption everybody would choose smart casual. My maid of honor has asked my opinion on an option for outfits, all of which have been very skimpy, bodycon, low-cut mini dresses. Given that both mine and my fiancé's family and friends would be attending, specifically our grandparents, I sent a few other dresses to her to have a look at, which were midi maxi formal dresses. She didn't order any of the options I gave, but is now deciding between a black plunge neckline mini dress and the same dress but in navy. My maid of honor is large-chested, so both dresses only cover a small portion of her chest. Am I being a bridezilla by asking her to pick something else for my party? Story 7. Advice needed. Sister-in-law inviting herself to bachelorette. Apologies in advance for the paragraphs. Just looking for a gut check here to see if I'm being a bridezilla and get perspective on how best to navigate this situation. I am marrying James next year. His brother Matt has been married to Paula since before I met James. Paula is very nice and we get along well when I see her, which is once a year for the holidays, as we live across the country from James's brother, sister-in-law, and parents. But we aren't close for the rest of the year. We have very different interests and lives and just don't really keep in touch. We FaceTime James's family every Sunday when Matt and Paula and my future father-in-law and mother-in-law all get together for dinner. And Paula will usually say hi and then go back to whatever she's doing. Paula and I exchange happy birthday texts on our birthdays, and occasionally she'll heart react a photo in the family group chat. That's about the extent of our relationship. This is all completely okay with me. I don't feel the need to force a closeness that isn't there, and as I said, we all get along great when we go home for the holidays. In the middle of planning my bachelorette trip, we're not doing a bridal party or groomsmen, and I invited 6 close friends and family members who I have known between 8 years and my entire life. I mentioned something about the trip on the last FaceTime with James's family, and everyone was like, "That sounds like it'll be fun." And we moved on, and I thought nothing of it. But the next morning, James was chatting with Matt, who said in a very offhand way, "Oh, Paula wanted to know if your fiancé could send her the details for the bachelorette so she can get her flights and stuff." James was very taken off guard and was like, I'll talk to her. And Matt was like, "Great, thanks," and then changed the subject. I am so baffled by this. Paula has never once given me an indication that she believes we are, or wants us to be, any closer than we are. We hang out once a year during the holidays. I can't remember the last time she asked me a question about myself. She didn't even text me when my dog died. And again, all of this is completely fine with me. I don't need my fiancé's brother's wife, who lives in a time zone away, to be my BFF. But it truly never occurred to me that she would even want to be invited. If Paula were the one getting married, I would never in a million years expect to be invited to her bachelorette, let alone assume I was invited. This all happened on Sunday/Monday, and I still just don't know how to respond to this, especially because Paula didn't reach out to me directly. Here's the part where I'm worried I'm being an a-hole. The path of least resistance would be, of course, to invite Paula, but I just don't want to. The friends/family who are coming to my bachelorette all have met each other already and mesh well and are extremely important to me. I am the only person in this group who Paula has met, and we have such a surface-level relationship that I feel we barely know each other. The trip is going to involve a lot of hiking and outdoorsy stuff in a location that's very special and nostalgic to me. Paula prefers to stay indoors and has skipped the family's annual Christmas walk every year that I've known her. I don't think she would have a lot of fun, and I also don't want to be worried about her experience the whole time. And beyond all of that, there is a part of me that really resists catering to the expectations of someone who has not even told me directly that she would like to come. I would never ever dream of inviting myself to someone's bachelorette, let alone doing so via a game of telephone. We're heading to James's family for the holidays next week, and I am so anxious and truly don't know how to handle this. I really don't want to hurt Paula's feelings, but I want to be surrounded by my closest friends and family at my bachelorette, and we just don't have that kind of relationship. Do I just leave it alone and wait for Paula to bring it up? Do I proactively sit her down to talk through it? Do I just get over myself and invite her? Update. Thank you to everyone who weighed in on my post. I appreciate all the advice and thoughts, even from those of you who called me an a-hole and or privately messaged me to tell me to basically bully Paula until she uninvited herself. I will not be doing that, but thank you so much. After posting yesterday, I sat with my feelings and tried to figure out why I was having such a strong "I don't want to invite her" response. Given that we have always gotten along fine when we see each other, I came to the conclusion that the thing that was really bothering me was the indirectness of it all. I couldn't understand why Paula didn't just reach out to me first, and it made me worry that I had done something to make her feel like she couldn't. But I also decided that it was more important for her to feel included than for me to have the perfect close-knit group trip I had been envisioning. Like everyone pointed out, it's just one weekend, and she will presumably be in my life forever. So I called her yesterday evening, the first time either of us has ever called the other, and the convo went like this. Me: "Hi, Paula. I'm about to send over all the bachelorette info, and I'm so excited that you'll be there. I just wanted to check in, though, and make sure that you know you can totally reach out to me about things like this going forward. I hope I haven't done or said anything to make you feel like you can't, and if I have, I'd love for us to talk it through." Paula: long, confused silence. That's really nice of you, but I think there's been a miscommunication or something. I hadn't been planning on coming to your bachelorette." Me: also confused. "Oh, okay. I just thought since Matt asked me to send you the info." Paula: "He what?" Confusion intensifies. Paula: "I'm going to talk to him real quick. Let me call you back." 10 very stressful minutes later, Paula called back and basically said that Matt got in his head about worrying that Paula was feeling hurt and left out, which she was not. She was like, "No offense, this trip sounds like my worst nightmare." And he had the galaxy brain idea to parent trap us into thinking that Paula was supposed to come on this trip instead of just talking to either of us. The end result is that Paula had no desire to come to the bachelorette and never did in the first place. Matt has apologized, and this all encompasses the most in-depth conversation about our feelings that we have ever had with each other. Growth. Gotta love a stoic Midwestern family. Paula and I are also going to get dinner over the holidays, which will be nice and hopefully an opportunity for us to get to know each other better. Thanks again to everyone who gave their input, and sorry if you were hoping for a more dramatic update.